Hi guys, Samantha from Summer Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a cute little heart pendant. So today I'm using Polymer polymer clay in these three colours. So one is Wisteria, I believe that's how you pronounce it, this one's blush, and this one is white, all Prima. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold those into rough triangles. I rolled them to the pasta machine and formed them into roughly square shaped pieces so that getting them in the triangle shape is easier. You can of course use triangle cutters to get a more accurate triangle, but I'm not too worried about that. So just form them all into triangles like so. Okay, then I'm just going to take those and I'm going to pop them together like so, so that we can form a skinner blend. There we go, just pop them together. Then just take these edges, flip them around like so. Do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to just trim off some of the excess because we do not need all of that. Okay, and then I'm just going to press it together so that it doesn't fall apart on me while I'm taking it through the pasta machine the first few times. So just pinch it all together like so. And then if you don't know how to make a skinner blend just yet, I do have a few videos on this channel on how to create skinner blends, so just type that into the search and you'll find my skinner blend videos. But basically I'm just going to roll this through the pasta machine, fold it a few times, and I'll show you what the blend looks like afterwards. Okay, and here is how it should look when you are done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it again, same way that I've been folding it the whole time. But I'm now going to run it through the opposite way that I've been running it through, which is from this end to this end, stretching out the blend. And I'm just going to press it into a rough rectangle shape before I do that. And then we can form a skinner blend bullseye cane from this. Okay, and here is how it looks once it's done. So now you want to decide whether you want the white in the middle or if you want the purple in the middle. I want the purple in the middle, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this down. I'm going to pop the rest of the blend off to the side. And I'm just going to pinch this end, and then I'm just going to start rolling up the length of the blend. And you'll just go the entire way up the blend until you run out of cane. Okay, and that is how it looks once I've rolled up the whole piece. So now I'm just going to squish this together because you want those layers all nice and mushed together, and just press down on the top so that you even it all out. Okay, and then I'm just going to start pressing on these sides and squishing and pulling at the same time, and this will start to reduce it. And every once in a while I'll roll it, but basically I'm just going to be pressing and pulling at the same time like so. Then I'll roll. Now just continue on until I can just roll properly. So it's about there. Now you can see here that the purple is kind of shrinking inside the piece, so what I like to do is I'll press quite hard around these edges, thinning out that neck quite a bit, like so. Repeat on the other side, and that will reduce the amount of cane waste. So just roll that out, and then I'll reduce the inside part of the cane to the same diameter, either by rolling or by squishing and pulling. Rolling generally at this point is the quickest way to do that, like so. There we go. Now bear in mind that your cane right now is very warm, and so when you slice you're not going to be getting a clear image. That's alright though, you can see it smudges there. but that's alright, we can continue building the cane. We don't have to have a clear image right this moment. Just going to even out those ends. Okay, then I'm going to cut probably about half of the cane, put that to the side, grab the other half and reduce it a little bit more till it's probably about 1/3 longer than the initial piece. Cut that in half, put that to the side, reduce this one down so it's nice and thin, and then we'll have 3 sizes of cane. Okay. Then, generally I'll start with the thickest one. I will then cut it into a length that I'm happy with. This is going to be the length of your cane, so if you struggle to reduce things, then make it a little longer. If you're comfortable with the cane being fairly short, make it shorter or at this length. It really doesn't matter what length it is. And then all of the pieces from the other canes will be cut out to the same length, like so. And just continue cutting until you run out of cane, like so. And there we go. So now I'll just take this and I'll just take the different sizes and I'll assemble them at random, essentially. So just pop them all together in a way that is pleasing to you. It really does not matter how you put it together. One thing that I do find helps though is if you try to keep it in a roughly square or rectangular shape. It just makes slicing it and duplicating slices much easier, and they just fit together better. So if you can, try to keep it in a roughly square - rectangular shape. Okay, and that's the finished piece. So now I'm gently going to go and I'm going to press on each of these edges, like so. I don't want to reduce the cane, I just want to press everything together so that it's stuck together when I take these slices out. Okay, and that should do it. Now this is very soft at the moment, so I would advise putting this to the side for probably about 15 minutes to half an hour at least. Longer is better. But yeah, put it to the side, let it cool a little bit, pop it in the freezer helps, and then we can use it to assemble our piece. Okay, and so in the meantime, I'm just going to grab a piece of black clay that I've conditioned. I've run that out on the thickest setting of my pasta machine. And I'm just going to give that a thorough burnish. And this is what we're going to be laying our cane slices on top of. So just give it a burnish, and I place it between 2 pieces of paper because this will allow for a smooth front and a smooth back. Okay, and I'd advise doing this step relatively soon, or close to when you're about to cut your cane, because if you leave the clay on the paper it will leach and dry out. So don't leave this on the paper for like 15 minutes, you'll find that it makes the clay a bit brittle. Okay, and so I'm ready to cut this. I would advise having a nice thin blade to do this, and I'll cut the first slice. You can see there how it looks. Okay, and then try to cut nice thin slices that are consistent in thickness. Now this takes some practice, so if you're having trouble with this, the best way to get some practice in without wasting canes is to simply mould out a block of either leftover clay or any solid colour clay, and then practice slicing on that, because once you've finished with that you can always just mould it back into a block of clay and you won't have wasted time creating a cane. So that is the way that I practiced before I started slicing canes properly. and we should have just about enough. Bring this back over and I'll just pop the clay on here. And you'll also notice that when we pressed the cane together, we didn't get the sides nice and flat, so you can see that there are some bumps and grooves along each of these sides. That's fine, that is something I do want. So then take your canes, and what I like to do is I like to assemble them in a way that we don't have a mirror effect. Because I don't like that, because then it's very obvious that the image is repeating. So try to vary the way you're laying your cane slices down, whether that's rotating them, flipping them back to front, that all works. Okay, and don't worry about some of these minor black spots. You can just squish the cane like so, and that will generally smush it back into place. And there we go. Now, the most important step is going to be to burnish this. Give it a nice thorough rub down. This will smooth all of the cane slices together so you don't have any cracks or gaps between them. It will make it all nice and flat. It will remove fingerprints, and it will just give it a much more professional look. It will cut down on sanding if you even need to do sanding after this. Most of the time you don't. Yeah, so just make sure you give it a good burnish. Don't skimp on this step. And the reason I am burnishing rather than running it through a pasta machine is because the pasta machine will stretch the pattern, and a lot of the time it won't actually get rid of a lot of the larger cracks. This is a much better way to do it if you want to maintain the pattern. Okay, here we go. And so if I tilt this bit around, you should be able to see that it's solid. You don't have any gaps. Right. Okay, so now you could either cut that out and use it straight as it is, but I kind of want to use this donut silk screen that I have over here. Again, this is completely optional. And I'll just position that on there like so. And actually I don't want to cut it too close to the edge there. It's a little too close for me. There we go. And then just press down because it's got a slightly sticky back. Okay. And then you can use any colour paint you want. I'm going to be using black because I think it will stand out nicely. And I'm just using regular old black acrylic paint. You want one that's somewhat thick, you don't want it to be incredibly runny. Okay. And just scrape that across the surface, like so. And then peel that up, like so. Okay, then allow the paint to dry and go clean off your silk screen. Once it's dry, you can either just cut it straight out with the cutter, or you can lay a piece of cling film over the top, and this will allow us to get a nice domed effect. Okay. Then position your cutter in the right spot. And then press down firmly, and this will give you a light dome. Again, completely optional. If you don't want a dome, just cut it straight with the cutter. You don't have to use cling film. Okay, but just because you're using cling film, the cutter's going to have a little more trouble cutting straight through, so just make sure you spend a little bit more time pressing down the cutting edge to make sure that it's cut relatively cleanly. Gently lift that up. Okay, and that did stick in the cutter a little because we had it on a piece of paper. So gently wiggle that out of the cutter, like so. There we go, got them both out. Then you want to take that cling wrap and make sure that you take that off before you put this into the oven, because that will burn. Okay, and now if you were cutting this on a tile, it would have not stuck in the cutter. It was only because we had it on a piece of paper that it stuck. And there you can see it comes off relatively easily. I'll do the same with this little piece here. Okay, then because we used cling wrap, there is going to be a few minor marks. So just go in and very gently give it just a light burnish, just to remove any wrap marks that there might be. You can also go in and just smooth your finger. That will also do a good job of it. Okay, and don't worry about the sides if they look a little mucky because of the paint. That can very easily get fixed up after this has been baked. We'll just sand them. It's very quick to sand them, and it will clear up right away. And you can bake the little middle piece if you want, or you can just use that as scrap clay. It's completely up to you. Also give these sides just a little bit of a smooth down, just because there might be some fluffiness left over from the cutter. But again, we will be giving them a sand, so it's not a big deal. Okay, pop that into the oven for a full hour at Primo's recommend temperature, and when they're done, I'll show you how to clean them up and finish them. Okay, and here they are out of the oven. Now I've given this one a sand already, as this one's going to take the most time to sand, but I've left this one alone so I can show you how to sand it. So I've just got some 600 grit sandpaper here, and you're just going to gently take that and you're going to sand along the edges like so, and you would repeat the exact same thing on the larger one. And now I'm using wet dry sandpaper, so preferably you want to be doing this underwater. And just give it a decent sand until all the edges are cleaned up. Okay, and here it is, all finished and sanded. Now it's completely up to you whether you want to varnish this or not. I want to keep it matte the way it is, as I quite like it that way. But if you want to put a gloss varnish on, you can. Keep in mind that the paint has been baked onto the clay, and so it won't scratch off, as you can see there. So you don't have to seal it if you don't want to. But yeah, that's basically it for today's tutorial. If you want to see how you can string this piece, there are lots of tutorials already on the channel showing how to string donuts, so please do feel free to check those out. And if you enjoyed the tutorial, please let me know in the comments below. All of the tools used in today's video are on sale on my Etsy shop, Jessima Design. The links are in the description below, so go check that out if you are interested. And if you would like to support the channel, please do consider becoming a patron. I have a link to there in the description below as well. You get exclusive tutorials on there that are not available on YouTube, so please do check that out, as it helps me continue creating videos like this one. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.